Yes, my taste in music has changed a lot over time. When I was a child, I mainly listened to upbeat pop songs because they were trendy and entertaining. However, nowadays I prefer relaxing music or songs with meaningful lyrics because they help me feel calmer and less stressed up after studying.
Thank you for that response. That was a very well-structured answer. You made great use of vocabulary like upbeat and meaningful lyrics, and you explained your reasons clearly by connecting them to your emotional well-being. Now, to expand on that even further, here is an example of a more elaborate response. Yes, my taste in music has definitely evolved over the years. When I was younger, I was really drawn to energetic, upbeat pop music because of its infectious energy and popularity among my peers. However, as I've grown older, I've developed a deep appreciation for more soulful and relaxing genres, particularly acoustic tracks or songs with poignant, meaningful lyrics that resonate with my personal experiences and offer a moment of peace after a busy day. Based on this, what types of artists or songs do you find yourself drawn to when you need to unwind?
Next question.
Alright, let's look at another one. Here's your next question. Is the weather in your hometown different from before? Whenever you're ready, I'm listening.
I think the weather in my hometown has changed quite a lot in recent years. In the past, the seasons were more predictable and the temperatures was not too extreme. However, nowadays the summers are much hotter and the weather has become more unpredictable because of climate change. Sometimes there are also heavier rains and sudden storms which can affect people's daily life.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. That was another excellent answer. You used strong vocabulary like unpredictable and extreme, and you clearly explained the impact of these changes on daily life. To take your response a step further, here is a more detailed example. Yes, there's been a noticeable shift in the weather patterns in my hometown over the past few years. While the seasons used to be quite distinct and predictable, we're now experiencing much more volatile conditions. Summers have become far more intense with prolonged heat waves, and the rainfall has become much heavier and more erratic, sometimes leading to flash flooding that disrupts our routine. Based on that, have these changes affected any outdoor activities you enjoy?
Next question.
Here comes the next one. Is your fashion style now different from a few years ago? I'm ready whenever you are.
My fashion style is slightly different now. A few years ago, I mainly wore simple clothes without paying much attention to fashion. However, nowadays I prefer more fashionable and comfortable outfits because they make me feel more confident. I also pay more attention to colors and style that still my personality.
That's a fantastic answer. You clearly highlighted the contrast between your past and present styles, and I loved how you connected fashion to your self-confidence. To take it a step further, here is a more elaborate sample response. My sense of style has certainly matured over the past few years. While I used to opt for purely casual and simple clothing without giving much thought to trends, I've become much more attuned to putting together outfits that not only feel comfortable but also reflect my personality and professionalism. I've started incorporating more tailored pieces and paying closer attention to color palettes that suit me best. Based on that, do you find yourself following specific fashion trends or do you prefer to create your own unique look?
Next question.
Let's move on to the next one. Here is your question. Are your eating habits now different from before? Whenever you are ready, I'd love to hear your answer.
My eating habits are quite different from before. When I was younger, I used to eat a lot of fast food because I did not really care about my health. However, nowadays, I try to maintain a healthier diet by eating more vegetables and more home cooked meals. I also drink more water and try to avoid skipping meals because I want to stay healthy and have more engineer for studying.
That's a fantastic and very honest answer. You've clearly highlighted the transition from convenience to health consciousness, and explaining how it impacts your energy levels for studying is a great touch. To expand on that idea, here is an example of a more elaborate response. My approach to eating has definitely transformed as I've grown more health conscious. In the past, I often indulged in quick processed meals without much thought, but now I prioritize balanced, nutritious foods, making an effort to incorporate fresh produce and prepare meals at home whenever possible. This shift has made a significant difference in how I feel throughout the day. Drawing from that, is there a particular healthy dish or cuisine you've been enjoying lately?
Next question.
Understood. Let's try this one. Is the way people communicate now different from the past? Go ahead whenever you are ready.
Yes, communication has changed dramatically compared to the past. In the past, people mainly communicate face to face. However, nowadays, people often use text messages, social media, and video calls because they are much faster and more convenient. Even though technology has people stay connected easily, I think face-to-face interaction is still more meaningful.
That was an excellent answer. You really captured the essence of that shift by contrasting the immediacy of digital communication with the depth of face-to-face interactions. To take your response to the next level, here is a more elaborate version. Communication has definitely transformed over the past several years. While the primary mode used to be in-person conversations, we now see a heavy reliance on digital channels like messaging apps and video calls, which are incredibly convenient for keeping in touch across distances. Despite this, I feel that the genuine warmth of a face-to-face meeting is something that technology cannot replace. Based on that, do you find yourself using video calls mostly for professional or personal reasons?
Next question.
Let's look at another one. Here is your next question. Is your personality now different from when you were a teenager? Whenever you're ready, I'd love to hear your answer.
Yes, I think my personality has changed in several ways. In the past, I used to be quite shy and did not feel confident when talking to strangers. However, nowadays, I'm more natural and open-minded because I have had more opportunities to communicate with different people. I am still a little introverted sometimes, but I can express my my opinions more confidently now.
That's a lovely and very reflective answer. You've successfully shown how you've moved from being shy to becoming more open and confident in sharing your views while still staying true to your introverted side. To give you a more elaborate sample response, here is something you could use. My personality has definitely gone through some positive changes over the years. While I used to be rather timid and reserved as a teenager, I've become much more outgoing and open-minded, largely because of the diverse experiences and interactions I've had. While I still value my quiet moments, I can now articulate my thoughts and feelings with confidence. Based on that, have you found that trying new activities helped you become more confident?
Next question.
Here is another question for you. Is the way children spend free time now different from before? Whenever you are ready, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yes, it is very different nowadays. In the past, children usually spend their free time playing outdoor games like hide and seek or football with their friends. However, nowadays, many children prefer staying indoors and using electronic devices such as smartphones or tablets. I think technology has changed children's lifestyle significantly because screen time has become more modern. more
That
common.
was a brilliant answer. You effectively contrasted the physical, outdoor play of the past with the screen-heavy lifestyles of today's children. To give you an even more comprehensive and natural-sounding sample, here is how you could elaborate. There's been a massive shift in how children spend their free time these days. In the past, kids were almost always outside, playing tag, riding bikes, or kicking a ball around with friends. Nowadays, though, a lot of their leisure time revolves around digital devices like smartphones or tablets. I think this change has really altered their lifestyles because screen time has become the norm. Based on that, do you think this shift has impacted their social skills?
Next question.
Let's move on to the next one. Here is your question. Is your hometown different from what it was 10 years ago? Whenever you're ready, I'm listening.
My hometown has changed significantly over the last 10 years. I used to be much quieter and less crowded, but now there are many modern buildings, shopping centers, and quieter roads. Besides that, the traffic has become heavier because more people own private vehicles nowadays. Even though the city is more developed, sometimes I miss the peaceful atmosphere it has in the past.
That was a wonderful answer. You really captured the contrast between the past and the present, noting the new developments and heavier traffic while also acknowledging the nostalgia for the quiet atmosphere. To provide you with a more elaborate sample, here is something you could use. My hometown has undergone a massive transformation over the last decade. While it used to be a sleepy, less populated area with plenty of open space, it's now bustling with modern buildings and large shopping complexes. Along with this development has come heavier traffic as more people rely on private vehicles. While the city is more dynamic, I sometimes yearn for the peaceful, simpler days of the past. Based on that, do you feel your hometown has maintained its original character in some ways?
Next question.
Here is your next question. How has the way people make friends changed nowadays? Whenever you're ready, I'm all ears.
The way people make friends has changed significantly because of social media and technology. In the past, people usually made friends through school, work, or neighborhood activities. However, nowadays, many people connect through social network sites and online communities. However, although it's easier to meet people online, I think face-to-face friendships are still more meaningful.
That's a very insightful answer. You've perfectly highlighted the shift from making friends through shared physical spaces to the vast opportunities provided by social media and online communities, while still recognizing the value of real-world connections. To give you a more elaborate sample, here is an example. The way people form friendships has really transformed in recent years. Previously, friendships were built primarily through daily interactions at school, the workplace, or within the local neighborhood. Nowadays, however, social media platforms and online forums have made it incredibly easy to connect with people who share similar interests regardless of geographical boundaries. Despite these digital avenues, I still believe that in-person friendships often offer a richer, more profound sense of connection. Based on that, do you agree that online friendships can sometimes be as deep as traditional ones?
Next question.
Here is your next question. How have people's health habits changed recently? Whenever you are ready, I'm listening.
People's health habits have changed quite a lot recently. Nowadays, many people pay more attention to healthy eating and regular exercise because they want to improve their physical and mental health. For example, more people go to the gym, play sports, or follow healthy diets than before. I also think awareness about mental health has become much more common in recent years.
That's a fantastic and comprehensive answer. You've captured the shift beautifully by linking physical activity and healthy eating to both physical and mental well-being, and including the growing awareness of mental health is a really insightful point. To take your response to the next level, here is an example. Health habits have certainly undergone a positive transformation in recent years. More people are prioritizing balanced diets and regular physical exercise, recognizing their importance for overall vitality. There's also been a significant shift in the conversation around mental health, with more individuals seeking balance and self-care. Based on that, do you think this focus on holistic health will continue to grow?
Next question.
Let's look at this question. How has tourism changed in your country? Whenever you're ready, I'm listening.
Tourism in my country has developed significantly over the years. In the past, there were fewer tourist attractions and not many international visitors. However, nowadays, tourism has become much more popular because transportation and service has improved. Many places are promoted on social media, which attract both local and foreign tourists.
That's a fantastic answer. You've clearly outlined the growth of tourism through better infrastructure and the power of social media promotion, which is an excellent point. To provide you with an even more expansive and natural-sounding sample, here is how you could elaborate. Tourism in my country has undergone a remarkable evolution. In previous years, there were fewer major attractions and relatively few international visitors. However, thanks to significant upgrades in transportation and services along with effective promotion on social media, tourism has flourished, drawing both domestic and foreign travelers to many different destinations. Based on that, is there a particular region or type of tourism that you think has become most popular?
Next question.
Let's move on to the next question. How has the environment in your area changed? Whenever you are ready, I'm listening.
The environment in my area has changed quite a lot in recent years. On the one hand, there are more modern buildings and facilities which make the area more developed. However, on the other hand, air pollution and traffic congestion have become more serious because of the increasing population and vehicles. Fortunately, there are also more green space and environmental campaigns nowadays.
That's a very balanced and insightful answer. You've successfully captured the dual nature of urban development, acknowledging both the modern conveniences and the environmental challenges, while also highlighting the positive push for more green spaces. To provide you with an even more comprehensive and natural-sounding response, here is how you could elaborate. The environmental landscape in my area has really transformed over the past few years. On one hand, we've seen significant development with modern infrastructure, but this has unfortunately brought increased air pollution and traffic congestion due to population growth. The silver lining, though, is the stronger focus on creating green spaces and promoting environmental awareness. Based on that, do you think urban development and environmental preservation can truly coexist? Do you prefer learning through visual media or reading text-based materials?
Next question.
Alright, let's look at another one. Here is your next question. Is shopping nowadays different from shopping in the past? Whenever you're ready, I'm listening.
Shopping nowadays is very different from the past. In the past, people usually went directly to markets or shopping malls to buy things. However, nowadays, online shopping has become extremely popular because it is more convenient and save time. People can also use cashless payment methods, which make shopping much easier than before.
That's an excellent answer. You've perfectly highlighted the shift from physical stores to online shopping, and your mention of cashless payments adds a great modern layer to the explanation. To give you an even more detailed sample, here is how you could elaborate. Shopping has indeed undergone a massive transformation in recent years. While people used to rely on visiting physical markets or malls, online platforms now offer unparalleled convenience, allowing consumers to browse and purchase items anytime, anywhere, often paired with seamless cashless payment options. Based on that, do you think traditional brick-and-mortar stores will ever lose their appeal entirely, or do they still have a unique value?
Next question.
Alright, here is another question for you. Are schools nowadays different from schools in the past? Whenever you are ready, I'm listening.
Schools nowadays are very different from those in the past. Modern schools usually have better facilities such as projectors, computer rooms, and online learning systems. In addition, students can access digital material more easily than before. I think education today is more flexible and interactive, although students may also face more active academic research.
That's a fantastic and well-rounded answer. You've clearly contrasted the modern facilities and digital tools available today with the traditional setups of the past, and pointing out the increase in academic pressure is a very astute observation. To provide you with an even more elaborate sample, here is something you could use. Schools have certainly evolved significantly over time. While the focus used to be on rote memorization and physical textbooks, modern schools now boast advanced facilities like smartboards, computer labs, and fully integrated online learning platforms, which make the learning experience much more interactive and personalized, though this often brings higher expectations for students. Based on that, how do you think the balance between technology and traditional teaching methods should be managed moving forward?
Next question.
Alright, let's move on to the next one. Here is your question. Are the friendships you have now different from your childhood friendships? Whenever you are ready, I'm listening.
Yes, they are somewhat different. Childhood friendships were usually very simple because we mainly play games and spend time together for fun. However, the friendships I have now are deeper and more meaningful because my friends and I often share our personal problems, study experience, and future goals. I think long-lasting friendships become more valuable as people grow older.
That is a wonderful and thoughtful answer. You've clearly captured the essence of how friendships evolve, shifting from playful and activity-focused bonds to connections built on deeper trust and shared experiences. To give you an even more expansive and natural-sounding sample, here is how you could elaborate. My friendships have certainly become much more profound over the years. While childhood companionships were often based on simple fun and shared playtime, my adult friendships are now centered on mutual support, meaningful conversations, and navigating life's challenges and goals together. I really believe that these long-lasting bonds gain immense value as we grow. Drawing from that, how do you maintain your close friendships despite busy schedules?